Hey, is this good? Catherine.
No, you're not on our page.
Okay, it is. How about now?
No, you must be still on your page. Oh, now it is. It's coming up.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks.
yeah. Okay, we're
Okay,
back.
bye. Bye.
We're back. Yeah. Great. Um, it's on now, Rebecca. All right. Sorry about that. So where was I? Oh yes. I was an unenthusiastic clarinet player. Sorry, clarinetists. I'm in complete awe of all of you who play so beautifully, like Lori Lovato and Emily Erb and all of my clarinet friends. But I was not destined to be a clarinetist. I really wanted to play the oboe, but that instrument was taken. So I was handed a bassoon. Now, thanks to my excellent early music education, I knew what a bassoon was, and I knew it wasn't an oboe because they look really different. So I just happen to have a bassoon right here, right? I'm too close actually to show you the whole thing. But this is big and brown and does not look like a clarinet, whereas the oboe is about the size of a clarinet, and it plays a lot higher. So anyway, I was happy playing in band and orchestra. The way the music was set up back then, we could do orchestra, band, and chorus. So I got some excellent choral experience and a lot of wonderful instrumental experience. And when I was a junior in high school, I was bitten by the music bug and decided at that very late date to major in music. So I did. And so many music degrees later, in a few years, here I am. So let us continue. We have, let's see, where did those questions go? Somebody asked about the bassoon band. And the bassoon band, have we done any virtual performances? No, we haven't, because I can't figure out how to have a rehearsal safely, and we usually have more than 5 people. So right now that's not an option. So if anybody has some, yeah, rehearsing is kind of necessary. We see a lot of videos online that are wonderful and fabulous, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Okay. I have a question here. How am I enjoying photography during this time? I am enjoying it in my yard. If you go to my Facebook page, you will see that most recently I took a field trip into my front yard with my macro lens and took pictures of a bee covered in pollen, looking like it was sleeping off a bender. It was pretty amazing. It was really, really neat. Thanks, Lisa, for coming back on. And then earlier in the spring, when we had a lot of California poppies, I found a very small winged creature inside a poppy, and it looks really big in the picture, but it was really, really quite tiny. So I don't own a camera. All of the photography I do is on my iPhone XR, and the lenses that you can buy, I'm sure you can buy some really fancy ones, but the ones that I use, like I think I got a kit of like 2 or 3 or 4 lenses for about $30, 25 or $30, just to practice and just to see if I want to actually invest in something further on down the road. So if you go to my page and look at some photos, you'll see lots of beautiful sunset pictures and cloud pictures. Almost all of those have been taken across the street from my house. Our house faces west, and so I have an infinite amount of inspiration over there. Let's take another question. Let's see. What has been my favorite memory performing with the Santa Fe Symphony? Wow, I wasn't ready for that. Maybe playing Mahler 7, because it was the first time I played Mahler 7. I had over the years I've performed all of the Mahler symphonies and Das Lied von der Erde, and I never played the seventh, and so I was really just so grateful to get an opportunity to learn it, so it was nice to kind of fill in that gap. What concert am I most excited about for next season? Well, I'm very excited about the entire season. Not the least, uh, the reason, not just because I helped plan it, but because we have a really diverse program set up with um, some not so well known composers, underrepresented, soloists from underrepresented groups. We're trying to add in more repertoire from composers who might still be alive, and who have been underrepresented as well. So, I'm really excited about doing Stravinsky's The Soldier's Tale, although that's not a full orchestra performance, and that's scheduled for February. And who knows, it might happen live. But I was really excited about playing the Stravinsky Symphony of Psalms, which was, let's see, that is scheduled for April. So we're keeping our fingers crossed that we can do it with the choir, with the chorus. And the Stravinsky is not done quite so much. It requires an awful lot of wind and brass players. The bassoon section has 5 players in it, which always makes me happy. I mean, if we can have more bassoons, it's great. Also on the program is the Haydn Sinfonia Concertante, which is a solo piece for violin, cello, oboe, and bassoon. And I really like that piece. I don't even think I've played it since I moved to New Mexico, which was in 1998. But I have played it. And if I have played it since then I guess I can blame my poor memory on the pandemic. Yeah. Let's see, there was another question, and I don't know if I'm getting questions on the chat here. Let me see. Oh yeah. Okay. So favorite memory, concert looking forward to, bassoon band, and I did answer the question about photographic equipment, or in my case, lack thereof. Hi, Stephen. Hi from New York. Yay. So Lisa, my friend from grade school and middle school, asks, has Dan composed any pieces specifically for me? Daniel Davis is who Lisa's referring to. He's my husband, and he's a composer, and he has written a whole pile of music for me, and that's one of my lockdown projects is to find a decent setup to record them, and get them out there. It was the focus, his music was the focus of my doctoral work at Texas Tech. And if Professor Meek is watching, hi, thanks for joining in. Professor Richard Meek is the bassoon professor at Texas Tech, which is where I got my doctoral degree. And he has actually played with the Santa Fe Symphony. I believe it could have been, maybe around 2013 or so. I don't remember. It all kind of blurs together. Hi, Rebecca. Rebecca Ray, oboist extraordinaire with the Santa Fe Symphony, with whom I played my last week of work before the shutdown. So Rebecca and Lori Lovato, principal clarinetist extraordinaire with the Santa Fe Symphony, and I played reed trios for the young students of the Santa Fe school system. And we had a great time doing it, although I was not so crazy about getting up at 5:30 in the morning to make those early morning shows. But Rebecca and Lori made it so much fun. And we had a great time. And so Friday the 13th was the last day of school here in New Mexico. No significance to the number, right? And and we had a great time. We really had a lot of fun. Something that musicians are not trained to do is to play school concerts. Maybe now they are, but when I was going through my undergraduate degree, not a thing, not a blessed thing was told us about performing for kids, right? Um, and my degree was in performance. It was not in music ed. Those are two very separate degree courses. So that was kind of interesting. So I had to learn on the job. And at first I thought, oh my goodness, I must be so boring to these kids. I really froze up a lot. Although I didn't realize that they thought the bassoon was pretty cool. I mean, the bassoon is really bigger than most of the kids that we play for. And that's the cool factor right there. And then I got a lesson in humility somewhere along the line early on when I was playing for the really young kids, the pre-K and the kindergarten, first, second graders. What they liked the most was watching me assemble the bassoon and at the end of the show, taking it apart and putting it in my case. That completely amazed them. So I think that's what they remembered the most, really. So yeah, let's see. Hi, Lori. Yeah. So Lori is a wonderful clarinetist and an improviser, and so during that week in March where we were playing those shows, we had a couple of classes who were straggling in a little late. And so, but there were already classes ready and waiting. And so there was this like kind of uncomfortable quiet. Well, I'll qualify it. There were kids in the room. It was mostly quiet, but they were pretty good, actually. They were really good. So all of a sudden, Lori just stands up and starts playing the Baby Shark song. And it was fabulous. It was just so great. And so eventually Rebecca and I joined in to the point where Rebecca, I hope you don't mind me telling this, but Rebecca would lead the kids in all the actions and the whole thing. It was really adorable. It was great. So maybe coming soon to a video near you. I don't know. Okay. I'll have to ask Daniel. Hi, David. Boy, my North Shore High School and Seacliff School friends are really showing up. Thank you. David Dyer, whose dad was our orchestra conductor, wants to know when Daniel is going to write some recorder music. So I guess Daniel will have to do his own live. And he can tell you. Great. Thanks. And David did I think a summer concert as a violinist with the Santa Fe Symphony many summers ago, and he for many years along with his sister have been in the violin section of the Toledo Symphony. So we'll give a shout out to the Toledo Symphony, the Dyer family, and all my friends from Long Island. Thank you. And thank you, Lynn. And yes, so yeah, lots of fun. So for those of you who've never been close up to a bassoon, I think I am actually sitting too close for you to see the entire instrument. At some point, I'm going to take a picture of my setup here and how I've set up in my office to show you, like, show you all the unglamorous stuff that goes behind making the picture look very neat and organized. But not now. Oh, Catherine, I hear you might. Oh, yes, I do. Okay, and that's going to come next. So we have a guest instrument in the studio, which is the contrabassoon. So most people think the bassoon is pretty strange looking and big and awkward. which it is. It's all of those things. But it has some redeeming qualities. And I like to say that my particular bassoon is very pretty. It's got some beautiful grain on it, which you can see in the still photograph. You might not be able to pick it up with the lighting in here right now. Ooh, where have I traveled to play? Oh, great question. So before I start to noodle a little bit, and again, I don't know what it's going to sound like because I don't have a handy little USB microphone yet. Probably going to have to get one. So before I do my little mini bassoon demo, Rebecca wants to know, where have I traveled to play? And I have to be honest, before I moved to New Mexico, I did a lot of traveling for playing, thanks to the groups that I've performed with over the years. And once I got to New Mexico, no less exciting, back when I came here for the principal bassoon job with the New Mexico Symphony, we had a robust touring program, which for me was great because I got to see pretty much all the corners of the state. And I was really, really blown away. I wasn't one of those people that missed all the green. I was pretty much immediately captivated by the landscape here. I had never been to New Mexico, and it just was gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. So prior to that, I have traveled to Tokyo 3 times to play. The most recent time was in 2015 when I went with the Texas Tech Bassoon Ensemble for the International Double Reed Society Conference, which was really fun. That was my 3rd trip to Tokyo, and it was fun to go with people that I knew. My husband went because we premiered a piece of his, and he had not been. And then there were undergraduates, a couple of whom had never left the state of Texas or traveled anywhere overseas. And I find Tokyo a very visitor-friendly place, very clean. And the International Double Reed Society conferences are just so much fun anyway, but the icing on the cake was that we got to go to Tokyo. I've toured a lot of Europe with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra and the Chicago Chamber Orchestra. There are still places I would like to go. I haven't gone all over Europe. And then I got to go to Italy with my dear friend and colleague in the Santa Fe Symphony, Leslie Schultes, who's in the bassoon section. And she's a serious language learner. So she had been to Italy a number of times. So I had my own personal tour guide who could help navigate around in Italian. And it was just wonderful. We went to Rome, Florence, and Assisi. It was too short a trip. And I really hope I can get back there soon. So, and the other really exotic place that I've played is, actually, no, I didn't play. I went to a conference, but it was another International Double Reed Society conference. Was in Buenos Aires. They had a conference there. And so I got to hear players from all over Central and South America, got to hear a lot of music from that part of the world, and got to hear a lot of European players who don't necessarily make it to the conferences here in North America, in the United States and Canada. So that was fantastic. I think one of the biggest highlights there was to hear the bassoon section from the let me think. I think it was from the opera, the Paris Opera, and they were playing French instruments, which are very different from the German-style instruments, but their ensemble playing was absolutely peerless. It was just incredible. It was absolutely beautiful. There's Leslie! Yay, it was fun! She could embarrass me and tell stories, but I don't think she will. No. Thank you, Leslie. Okay, so Bassoon demo. Read. Okay, without this, there's no sound. In order for an instrument to make sound, there needs to be a source of vibration. And on the bassoon, it is my air going through these two pieces of cane. Let me see if we can bring that up to the screen. Do you see that opening? Yeah. And here we go. Isn't that beautiful? No. Okay. I need to put that on the end of my bassoon in order to play something. And here's my bassoon. It was built in 1933 in Germany at the Heckle factory. And for bassoon geeks, it is a mid 7000 series instrument, which I purchased from Willard Elliott, the former principal of the Chicago Symphony. When he was getting ready to retire, he asked me if I was interested in purchasing this instrument, and the rest is history. Here it is. Okay, so here are some notes on the bassoon. So, the bassoon has the largest range of any of the woodwind instruments, and is usually relegated to doing things like at least until you get into high school or youth symphony. We also do a lot of blending with clarinets and horns and violas and cellos. So I like to think of the bassoon as the glue of the orchestra. So we blend things together. So we are that je ne sais quoi that really, really holds a lot of music together. We do get a lot of solo passage work as well. Well, to me, it seems like a lot. I think to a flute player, it would be completely insufficient in amount. However, so something that everybody has heard goes something like this. So that uses the high range of the instrument. And another thing that you probably have heard is this, which we play every year with the Santa Fe Symphony, except for this year. Wait, no, we did that in October. That was last year. Okay. And as you can tell, I've not practiced it since October. Okay, so that's the bassoon. It has a lot of bling on it here and back here. So my left thumb operates all of these keys, and my right thumb operates this bunch of keys right here. This is really challenging. I'm not really good at my image is mirroring reality, so like I have to, yeah, okay, you get it. I don't know if I could teach yoga. Okay, anyway, so that's the bassoon. It's made out of maple wood, and it's got lots of keys. Oh, and I want to play you something, courtesy of yet another wonderful composer slash bassoonist slash writer, academic, all-around great guy, John Steinmetz. He wrote something called Streets of Laredo. Well, he didn't write the original theme. He's not that old yet. So, variations on Streets of Laredo, which I like to play because, first of all, he's a wonderful composer, and he describes this as being classical, Baroque-ish set of variations. But because we're out west, right? All right. So, here we go. I'm going to play the theme. And we'll see how the first variation goes. And if you'd like to hear the rest of it, we are working at the Santa Fe Symphony of doing some concerts for very small, probably under 5 or 4 people. We're developing a whole roster of musicians who will come and play a short solo recital. So keep your eyes on this website for more information. So that was also meant as a little advertisement. The variations are great. Thank you, John, for giving me permission to do this. I love playing this piece, and it's been too many years since I have. So I know everybody's dying to see the contrabassoon, right? Because that's everybody's favorite instrument. I will tell you, the contrabassoon is the favorite instrument of middle school aged boys. I'm not even going to venture a guess. Probably, no, I'm not even going to go there. So anyway, here's the contrabassoon. I'm going to back up a little bit. You might want to back up too. Here it is. Yeah. Lots of keys. Really nice. This instrument was also made in Germany in around 1975. Her name is Molly, because when you hear this, you'll go, good golly. Maybe. Okay. So, the contrabassoon is twice as long, so it's going to play an octave lower than the bassoon. The bassoon tube is about 8 feet long, give or take. So this is 16 feet of lusciousness, right? Okay, yeah, we'll see. All right, so with apologies to string bass players, there we go. Here is a little song about an animal. All right. Different reed, similar design, but of course much larger. Let me try that again. All right, never mind. I haven't played the contrabassoon in many months. And here's the lowest note. And probably the most best known contrabassoon excerpt is this. I'm sure I know a few of you who are watching, so you know what that was. Anyway, it's the beginning of Also Sprach Zarathustra by Richard Strauss, which starts with a low C. And the low C on the contrabassoon is one of the sweetest notes there is. Maybe not today, but it should be. All right, so that's the contrabassoon. And let's go back to the bassoon. Okay, so now you know why they pay me money to play the bassoon and not the contra. All right, so a lot of people ask us, bassoon players, about our reeds and where do we buy our reeds? We do not. Okay, we are taught as part of our training how to make reeds, and I don't really want to get into too much detail about that, but I did prepare a little bit about that. This is tube cane. It is related to bamboo. Looks like bamboo. It's Arundo donax, which actually grows right here in Albuquerque and many places in New Mexico. However, the cane here has, I know people have tried to make reeds out of it, but you have to have certain conditions of cold and heat and moisture. which are not ideal here in New Mexico. A lot of the cane comes from France. So it's the same material that saxophone, clarinet reeds are made out of, and oboe reeds, and also wicker furniture. So it's the same stuff. And I have friends in the Bay Area, contrabassoonist of the San Francisco Symphony, goes out and harvests these guys and cuts it down to size. And then it's split. I have a cane splitter. It looks like a really dangerous weapon, even more dangerous than my instruments. Looks really really serious. Yeah. Anyway, so this is split into thirds, this piece here, and you're about to see one of many reasons why a lot of people don't pursue playing the bassoon, because we get to have fun tools like this, all right? And actually making reeds in and of itself is great, but it's a reason that a lot of bassoonists don't have hobbies, because making a reed takes a lot of time and work. But I really like it. So that's a gouger, so it takes this little guy here and makes this thinner, and then we profile it, or this is basically a simple planing device, and when this is what the cane looks after it's been gouged, and then we shape it. All right, we have this kind of a shaper. We put this in here, hit both sides with the knife, and end up with something that looks like this. Okay, so this has been shaped, gouged, and profiled. I'm having that mirroring thing. Then what we do is we fold this in half and form the tube. Where did my reed? Aha. Okay, so we form a tube, and then we cut the tip and take a knife to it and hopefully scrape it. That is such a short description of what we do. There are many, many tools, many countless hours spent learning how to make reeds, and then making them and finishing them and breaking them in. So I have to hand it to my bassoonist colleagues who actually do have hobbies. I don't know how they do it. Okay, so we spend conservatively anywhere between 30 to 50% of our time making reeds and breaking them in. So that's kind of, yeah. That's just a fact of life. So if any of you have children or grandchildren who are interested in playing the bassoon, and I do encourage it, just know that they're going to be handling sharp objects, and it helps if they're really detail oriented, and it really helps if they know how to put things away where they belong. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. Hi, Jackie McGeehee. Yay. Good to see you. And John Steinmetz says hi. Thank you, John. So, my colleague, Leslie Schultes, who is also owned by a dog or two, as I am, wants to know which instrument do the dogs prefer, the contrabassoon or the regular bassoon or the tenor bassoon. The answer is neither, because if I'm playing, they're not getting any attention. So, oh well. No Hallmark card moments there, okay? There's a wonderful page on Facebook called Double Reed Pets, thanks to Barton Kane, shout out to Barton Kane, where when news of the pandemic is just completely freaking me out, I go there and I look at pictures of people's pets. It does make me feel better. Although I should be making reeds. So, just want to kind of get back to the Santa Fe Symphony. We are working really, really hard to bring music to you. We will bring you music any way we can, and keep everybody safe in the process. As you witnessed at the beginning of this Facebook Live, we're all learning technology, and we're learning our limitations with technology. So thank you for being patient. I have had just a little bit of time to see what people all over the world are doing, musicians like myself, what kind of projects they're doing. Some people are just like completely over the top overachievers, and I mean, I'm just blown away by what I see. Andrew Brady, who's a phenomenal bassoonist and principal at the Atlanta Symphony, not only has been playing the bassoon, but he did a really impressive multi-track recording, which just blew me away. There's a director of the Irish National Opera, I think it is, who at one point in his life played the bassoon, who did an aria from a Baroque aria, I don't remember what it was from, where he played the Baroque bassoon on 2 of the tracks. He sang the tenor and I think the alto parts to the aria and played all the keyboards. I'm like, wow, what a slacker I am, right? So, I mean, really, the riches out there are amazing, but we miss our Santa Fe Symphony audience, and we are really, really working hard to reconnect with you however we can. So I just wanted to say that, and we love our audience, we really do, and we miss seeing you. So let's see. So yes, definitely the season is not canceled. So do not despair. One of the really great quotes that I've come across in my internet wanderings is from a bassoonist who plays and has played in the San Francisco Bay Area for a very long time. His name is Rufus Olivier Jr. I've not had the pleasure of meeting him. Every single person who has worked with him has asked me if I've met him, and so that's one of my goals, is to go back to the Bay Area. I get to go there sometimes to play, which is great. Let's go back to the Bay Area and actually meet him. So, but he did a little video for the opera orchestra, because, you know, Santa Fe Symphony isn't the only group doing this kind of event. And he talked about why he chose the bassoon and about his family background and all kinds of things. It was really great. But he came up with a quote, and it really, really moved me. And this is actually, I am paraphrasing him a little bit with the first word. But he said, quote, musicians, oh no, that's the unquote part. But anyway, so here's the quote. Here's the semi-quote. Musicians are the first responders of the soul. So, and he explained, in times of trouble, what do? We turn to music, right? It can be very easy for musicians to feel marginalized, especially when music is cut from schools and funding and things like that. And when we hear about orchestras trying to raise business to stay in business, trying to raise money to stay in business. But, you know, after every disaster, you know, from the Titanic going down to post 9/11, when we get together to celebrate or mourn, there's music. And so that's why I think that that idea is really, really relevant, especially now, is that musicians are the first responders of the soul. Thank you, Mr. Olivier Jr. Okay? Great. So, does anybody have more questions? Let's see. Oh, I have an announcement. I need to find it. Let's see. Let's see. Which platform did I see that question on? Probably Messenger. Okay. It's about something that our principal conductor, Guillermo Figueroa, will be doing. He is going to speak on a webinar called Following the Ninth. That is Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, which is going to be hosted by the Center for Contemporary Arts and co-hosted by the Santa Fe Symphony. So do check that out. It's going to happen. It's an online event. They're selling tickets. It is happening a week from today, Friday, July 10th at 7 p.m. So the Beethoven's Ninth Symphony was a victim of the shutdown here. We were supposed to play that in May. And I know there are a lot of people who just adore that piece, and for very good reasons, very, very good reasons. So please check back with the Santa Fe Symphony website. You still don't see me. No, you do see me. Okay. That's Catherine Noon. Let's see. What else? How long does a read last? That is a great, great question. And like many great questions, the answer is, it depends. So, when my students see me open up my reed case to demonstrate something, they are amazed at this. This is a fraction of the reeds that I have. These are just the ones that are almost ready for prime time. So the idea is that you break in your reeds and you rotate them so that you've got really good reeds going all at the same time. Now, I have to tell you, as a bassoon student and as somebody who teaches bassoonists, that this is a tough sell because we have our most comfy reed that does everything we think. Yeah, and so we tend to use that one more than we should, which can lead to disaster. So my first disastrous experience with being over-dependent on one reed happened I think it was when I was in the 11th grade, and it was just before I was going to take the all-state audition. And like most of my students, I relied on this one reed because I thought it was the best thing ever, and it was getting a little grungy. I won't describe how. So I thought I would do a really, really smart thing. And I was going to flush some of the grunge out of the reed. So what I did was I went to the bathroom sink and I held the reed tightly, I thought, with one hand and turned the faucet with the other. With such force, the water came out that that sucker went right down the drain. Yeah. My mother described my scream as epic. And my wonderful bassoon teacher at the time, Howard Rockwin, who is a Facebook friend of mine still, came to my rescue and brought me another reed. So that was a very painful experience. And he saved me. So that was great. Thank you, Howie. I appreciate it. I'm sorry, that's a really long answer to a short question. Bassoon reeds can last up to a couple of weeks or more, depending on how much you're playing on that reed and how clean you are. Even pre-COVID, every time I would play, I would make sure I just brushed my teeth and washed my hands. And you just, the bassoon reed is a great place for things you don't want hanging around to lodge, because the reed provides a really dark, moist environment, and I will say no more there. So they last a lot longer than the oboe reeds. The oboe reeds are much smaller, and they are much thinner, so they wear out quite a bit faster. Let's see. Hi, Laura. I bet Laura, you were fascinated by all the reed stuff. Yeah. Laura is one of our lovely flutists in the Santa Fe Symphony. And so she is saying hi. Claudia, I don't believe it. Small world. Okay, so my bassoon teacher in high school was the high school assistant band director. Did you grow up on Long Island? You must have. You must have. Okay. Claudia is a fabulous cellist that I work with down in El Paso. So, bunch of Easterners out here. Yeah. Do I still grow sunflowers? Yes, we are working on a good crop right now. I had a 13-foot high sunflower in the backyard that grew higher than our house. We have a one-story house with a flat roof, which is very common here in New Mexico. And it was I should have gotten the sunflower its own Facebook account. So when I went to travel out of state to work, I typically work in Washington State and Texas and a little bit in Colorado. People that, quite honestly, I forgot I was Facebook friends with will come up and ask me about the sunflower. Just like when I had the adorable Labrador Retriever who was a therapy dog, and same kind of thing. So, hi, how's Rio? Well, he is cute. He was cute. I still miss him. So anyway, wow, Claudia, that's a small world. Music is a very small world, definitely. Yeah, okay. So yes to the sunflowers. I don't know that we'll have another 13-footer. These seem to be a different type of sunflower that don't get, the heads don't get quite as large, and they don't get quite as tall. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap this up. I really, really appreciate you, all of you coming in and stopping in and saying hi. And, oh, thank you, Rebecca. Rebecca sent me emojis, sunflower emojis with a heart. That's about it. What can I say? The bassoon is kind of interesting. I didn't talk about my current dogs, but that's okay. You can see those on Facebook too. And thank you. Please check in with the Santa Fe Symphony website or the Santa Fe Symphony Facebook page to see what we're up to, because we're cooking up a lot of things and we're not sure yet